music pioneer and Megadeth frontman Dave Mustaine has never been one to follow the rules. As a trailblazer in the world of thrash metal, especially with his unique fusion of symphonic elements, Dave has long stood at the forefront of musical innovation. So it comes as no surprise that his fearless, boundary-pushing spirit has spilled over into his personal life, where he and his creatively driven family have launched a new endeavor, House of Mustaine. This venture blends music, culture, and fine wine into what they proudly call music to your mouth. We recently had the pleasure of visiting the Mustaine family's stunning Tennessee home, where they welcomed us with warmth, candor, and of course, a behind-the-scenes look at their wine operation. While we were prepared to talk about music and wine, nothing could have prepared us for the house itself, a masterpiece in its own right. "It's kind of my project when Dave is out touring," said Pam Mustaine with a smile. Note to self, Dave joked, "Don't tour anymore." Despite their busy lives, the family thrives in the chaos. "We don't do nothing very well," Dave laughed. "We need that constant rhythm." The House of Mustaine isn't just a catchy name, it's a fully realized family-run business that merges the Mustaine's passions for art and wine. The journey began over a decade ago when Dave, intrigued by the potential crossover between classical and metal music, performed a symphonic concert in San Diego in 2012. Inspired by the challenge of interpreting Vivaldi, Bach, and Wagner, especially as a self-taught musician, Dave realized the performance needed a social bridge between metalheads and symphony subscribers. Beer and hard liquor didn't feel right, so the family decided to try wine. Living in wine country made the decision feel natural. A friend took Dave and Pam to a nearby vineyard, and despite Dave's usual aversion to alcohol, they discovered a wine that delighted them. "I don't like the taste of booze," Dave admitted. But this was different. Their very first batch sold out in just 24 hours, crashing their website and proving there was a market for their unique blend of rock and refinement. At the time, daughter Elektra was focused on her music career, but a relaunch of the wine business drew her in. What started as a helping hand turned into a full-blown passion. "I fell in love with it, accidentally," Elektra said. "You couldn't ask me to do anything else now." Today, she serves as vice president and is a certified sommelier, once among the youngest female sommeliers in America. Pam, who tends to stay out of the spotlight, praised the dynamic they've built as a family. "They're the entertainers," she said, referring to Dave and Elektra, "and that works for us." Their son, Justice, also plays a key role behind the scenes. Though busy with his own entertainment ventures, he steps in when the family needs a creative boost, or some heavy lifting. Even Justice's wife has pitched in. As Dave put it, "It's a family affair. We all contribute." The wine itself is more than just a drink, it's a reflection of their artistic roots. Elektra, who designs many of the wine labels, incorporates Megadeth song titles to deepen the connection between the band's legacy and their new path. While Justice focuses more on mead and understanding the fan base, Elektra and Pam handle the wine curation and branding. Together, they found a way to blend two seemingly opposite worlds, metal and fine wine, into something uniquely Mustaine. One of our absolute favorite wines is a sparkling red called Verace from San Giannis, a protected DOP zone in Italy. Traditionally, I've never been particularly fond of sparkling reds, but this one truly won me over, it completely stole my heart. At first, I even thought it was Elektra's wine. In fact, when I first tasted it, I immediately said, "Can we name this Elektra? Because if I could be a wine, I'd want to be this one." It turns out this wine is incredibly rare, there are only 27 acres in the world growing the specific grapes used for it. The wine has a subtle sweetness that occurs naturally. To achieve this, we harvest half the grapes and start making the cuve, while leaving the other half on the vine longer so they begin to raisin. This concentrates their flavor and sugar content. Later, we harvest those and blend everything together, fermenting it twice. The result is a semi-sweet wine with exceptional complexity and character. All of our Italian wines are organic, sustainable, and low intervention. Our winemaking approach is inspired by the Benedictine monks who originally cultivated our vineyard. We even took an oath, in Italian, to preserve all that is beautiful, a philosophy that drives our hands-on, eco-conscious methods. We think about sustainability in everything we do. For example, every fourth row of vines is left unharvested for local wildlife, supporting the ecosystem. During our time at the vineyard, we had the incredible opportunity to see centuries-old books maintained by the monks, evidence of the land's deep spiritual and agricultural history. The vineyard itself is over 1,200 years old, and it's believed the monks either planted or managed it. That's the legacy we're carrying forward. Our vineyard is located in Marche, a stunning region along Italy's central east coast, facing the Adriatic Sea, just minutes from the shoreline. It's an area renowned for producing some of the world's finest wines. We recently acquired another plot of land nearby and are preparing to plant new varietals there, including Montepulciano and Pecorino. The location is extraordinary, perched on a cliff with ocean views, in what's known as a blue zone, where people frequently live past 100 years. The purity of the land, air, and lifestyle adds to the mystique. If you're going to drink wine, this is the place to make it. We're also developing a new winery on that site, complete with accommodations for wine club members to visit and enjoy immersive experiences. The vision includes everything from vineyard tours to curated lifestyle retreats. And speaking of history, shortly after closing on this new property, excavations revealed an Etruscan tomb dating back to 700 BC. Because of this, the site was designated a UNESCO World Heritage location. Government officials came in and preserved the tomb for museum display, thankfully after we'd finalized the purchase. At the moment, our wines are primarily available through our exclusive wine club. There are no fees, it's simply a community of people who want to share in the journey. We curate unique experiences for members and offer a few select wines through our website and local partner restaurants in Nashville. We just hosted an event last night and love the chance to connect with people in person. Right now, we offer about 10 different varietals, and we're always expanding. Many of the wines are named after Megadeth songs or albums, tying back to our roots. Elektra hasn't named one after herself just yet, but she has a plan to eventually create a wine that reflects each family member's personality. And yes, the Megadeth fans have shown up in force. We've had so many of them attend our events, and we're beginning to recognize familiar faces and learn their stories. It's become a true community. Recently, we added travel experiences to the mix, bucket list-style adventures that reflect the lifestyle we've led as a family. From a luxury murder mystery aboard the Bellman train in London to a serene elephant sanctuary in Thailand, these are trips we would love ourselves. Our club concierge helps arrange everything, blending wine, culture, and travel seamlessly. Even though we're not generational winemakers, we've built this business on the foundation of our touring and travel experience. People often ask us for tips when they visit cities like London, where to go, what to eat. So we thought, why not bring them along on curated experiences inspired by the life we've been fortunate to live? What we found is that contrary to the stereotype, Megadeth fans do appreciate fine wine. They aren't just headbangers, they're curious, adventurous, and open to discovery. That's been one of the most rewarding surprises of all. When most people hear the name Megadeth, they probably picture loud, intense, screamo music, but that's a common misconception. In reality, our audience comes from all walks of life. I'll never forget meeting a neonatal cardiologist who performed surgery on babies still in the womb. He came up to me and said, "Yeah, I listen to Megadeth while I do surgeries." I was stunned. I thought, not if you're operating on my kid, you're not. But hey, to each their own. As for the wine, my personal favorite is the Shiraz, specifically, the one called Blood of Heroes. It's a 2017 vintage and was actually the first wine we ever released. We've got quite the collection of labels now. Some of the current wines include Elian Fields, Two She-Wolves, a Rosado, and a Tempranillo Rosé, Wanderlust Pecorino, Holy War, Peace Sells, and Almost Honest. Each one feels like our child. And yes, more are on the way, though I can't reveal them just yet. Last year, we even brought over 2 Italian Garbelotto barrels and made wine the old-fashioned way, by foot stomping, like in that classic I Love Lucy episode. We were literally inside the barrels, crushing grapes by foot. A friend of mine in the wine world had warned me about the gases that build up during fermentation, but I didn't take him too seriously. I probably should have. After a session in the barrel, I came out feeling like I'd been drugged. Turns out, that stuff is potent when you're that close. She was down there longer than I was, so maybe I should have strapped her in, or at least had a spotter. We're used to getting dirty, though. We've been equestrians for most of our lives, so physical, hands-on work is second nature. That work ethic also goes into the story of how Pam and I met. I was out with the guys from my band at a venue when I saw her across the room. I told one of my buddies, "Go tell that girl I want to meet her." He went over, smiling wide with his huge teeth, and came back saying, "She said if you want to meet her, you need to go over there yourself." I thought, well, that's spicy. So I walked up, introduced myself, and she said, "I know who you are." I wasn't sure if that was good or bad, so I just said, "I have to leave, but I'd really love to take you out to lunch." Apparently, that made an impression. We started dating soon after, and before long, we were married. 6 months later, we were in Paris and got pregnant again with our second child. Life moved fast, but it felt right. I remember meeting her family, her mom, stepdad, and brother, and I genuinely liked them. It just all clicked. That's not to say we didn't have our ups and downs. At one point, I forced myself to break up with her to test whether I could live without her. I went to Hawaii, and I was miserable. That's when I realized I really loved her. We got back together, and later, when I had a concert in Hawaii, I brought her and her whole family out. She had no idea what was coming. I had secretly bought a beautiful diamond ring and proposed to her at the base of Diamond Head, near the ocean, with all our loved ones around us. Planning a wedding on a Hawaiian island was its own adventure. It was tough to find a wedding dress for someone petite like her, and even harder to find something for me to wear. The suit I ended up with looked like it was made out of Reynolds wrap, shiny and reflective. I looked like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. We had just 4 days to pull everything together before I had to head back out on tour, so it was a whirlwind. Our formal reception happened about a month later. She found a dress just in time, and her brother walked her down the aisle. What I didn't know until later was that she had secretly flown out her entire family, including her 98-year-old grandmother. She didn't even know I was planning to propose. I showed up at her hotel room and said, "What are you doing this Thursday?" She started to get mad, thinking I was just winging things, but I dropped to one knee and popped the question before she could really let me have it. She was completely surprised. That was 33 years ago. It's been an incredible journey, and we've seen every season of life together. Now, switching gears to Megadeth, what's new? We just wrapped up our world tour at the end of last year, and honestly, it was one of the most enjoyable tours we've ever done. Everything just clicked. We recently switched management and brought in a team focused on branding. Funny enough, that branding team is now handling everything. And right now, we're in the middle of recording a new album, my 17th. I've written over 200 songs in my career, which means we've got enough song titles to name bottles of wine for generations to come. So, yes, even Elektra is still on my mind. One of these days, every family member will have their own wine, named after the song that best represents them. We're just getting started. Interestingly, we often come up with wine names while writing songs. It's kind of backward, really. When we're working on a new album, we have to think about names that can legally pass labeling regulations. If you see a name like Elektra on a bottle or an album, we had to clear it with the TTB first. That's the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, basically the government board that decides whether a wine label name is acceptable. Some of our titles, especially the more intense ones like Holy War, make us wonder if they'll even pass. But surprisingly, Holy War did. As for favorite Megadeth songs, mine is probably Train of Consequences. That track holds a special place, not just for its sound but for its story. I actually world premiered the video back when I was working as an assistant to the news director at WWTV Channel 9. It was a hard news show, but at the very end of each broadcast, I got to air new music videos. That one caused a stir, especially with the story we paired it with about babies on hangers. I caught heat for that, but I loved being able to say I premiered it. The song was from the Euthanasia album, which is hitting its 30th anniversary soon. Back then, we were working with Hugh Syme on the visual concepts. He had this idea tied to the ongoing Jack Kevorkian headlines and debates on assisted suicide. Having gone through cancer myself and knowing what real suffering is like, it made sense on a personal level. Speaking of which, I've been in remission for 5 years now. But cancer changes how you view everything. I take care of myself, keep up with my doctors, and try to stay healthy. A lot of guys my age don't. They give up, lose their hair, put on weight, but I've held on, thankfully. Pam and I don't really have one favorite Megadeth song. She loves Trust for its melodies, but I tend to think of all my songs like my children. Some you connect to more than others, but you don't really pick favorites. I will say this, a good song tells the writer when it's done. Some people stop writing too early, others don't know when to quit. Recognizing that moment is a rare skill among musicians. It's funny, people always credit Metallica for combining metal with symphonies, but I was actually doing that kind of thing earlier. The difference is they performed their songs with symphony orchestras, which, frankly, isn't a huge creative leap. What I tried was something more integrative, blending genres in a deeper way. Pam, on the other hand, prefers staying out of the spotlight. She's shy by nature and more drawn to the business side of things, the planning, strategy, and ideas. Our daughter Electra and I handle most of the performance side, while Pam and our other child, Justice, help shape what happens behind the scenes. Electra even had her own music career, and she's incredibly talented. But over time, her heart was captured by wine. Electra often says she never expected to end up in wine, but there's something deeply soulful about agriculture. It's honest, grounding, and a huge contrast from the music business. Grapes don't try to rip you off. Being out in the vineyards, being with nature, it fed her soul at a time when she needed it most. Having grown up riding horses, she always felt at home outdoors. And now, instead of being the product, like in the music industry, she has a product she loves and believes in, something she nurtures and supports like a child of her own. Selling wine wasn't something she thought she'd do, but the music industry toughened her. Rejection is part of the game, and that resilience has served her well. She knows the wine is excellent, so when someone turns her down, she simply moves on. If you love something, you're not selling, you're just sharing your passion. Each year brings a new harvest, a new adventure, and nature is always in control. Unlike beer, which is brewed from a fixed recipe, wine is unpredictable, alive, and that's what makes it magical. When Electra became a certified sommelier, she thought she knew a lot, until she finished the course and realized she had only scratched the surface. That's the beauty of wine, the deeper you go, the more you realize how much there is to learn. And that's what keeps her excited. Our journey took us to Italy, where we had to adapt fast. We were just two women navigating foreign terrain. We ended up in dry lake beds, in hotels that literally had chains across the doors. We visited medieval castle towns where the roads were barely big enough for cars, and the winemaking traditions were as ancient as the stones around us. When we first arrived, nothing seemed to go smoothly. The car didn't fit, and everything felt like a series of small but relentless hurdles. It was chaotic, almost like living inside a reality show. But that's what happens when you're trying to build something new in an unfamiliar place. We chose the Marche region instead of a more expected wine destination like Tuscany because of Dave's pioneering spirit, something all of us Mustaines share. He didn't just follow trends, he created a genre and became one of the best in the world at it. We wanted to bring that same trailblazing energy into winemaking, not by going where everyone else had gone, but by choosing a region with rich authenticity and a story that deserved to be told. In many ways, it felt like discovering a brilliant opening act no one had heard of yet. That's what this journey has been for us. Music, for me, has always been a powerful force. It affects people differently, but there's truth in that old saying, music soothes the savage beast. I don't know who first said it, but it resonates. Of course, it depends on the music. Some modern metal bands, especially those from the nu metal era, didn't feature guitar solos, probably because they couldn't play them. Thankfully, that phase passed, and we started seeing real musicianship return. I tend to prefer bands that truly play their instruments, where what you hear is what they actually recorded. There's something fraudulent about overly manufactured music where the band doesn't even play on their own records.